What's up, everyone? Alex here with another champion skin tier list, this time on Ahri. Ahri is, in my opinion, a very well designed champion. She has a pretty simple looking kit on paper, but she also has an insanely high skill ceiling when it comes to League. I don't think there's ever been a lengthy point in time when Ahri wasn't at the very least competent in the meta. Not to mention the fact that she's one of Faker's best champs, and considering he is considered by a lot of people to be one of the best players of all time, that also tends to help a champion out. And don't worry, we'll be talking about Faker a little bit more later. So Ahri also has a ton of skins because alongside the fact that she's a fun champ to play and is most of the time good, Riot realized something very important. Ahri is a hot anime girl. I know, some genius level big brain IQ stuff. Someone out there gets paid the big bucks to figure this stuff out, believe it or not. So seeing as we have a lot of ground to cover, we should get started. New way of doing things here. We're going to cover each skin in its own entry, and I'll give them a letter grade at the end of that entry. The actual tier list itself, though, we'll go over it once again at the end of the video, so we can rank everything in order. You could technically skip ahead, but watch the whole video or I'll cry. You don't want to be responsible for that, right? Before we really get started with the actual skins, we need to, at the very least, grade her base look. Not to overcomplicate things, but I'm going to set it in our C tier. This just gives me a baseline going forward to kind of grade and rank everything else. This is part of my basic rules when it comes to my tier list. The champion's base model always falls into the C tier. Doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's bad. Ahri's base look is pretty good and gives her a lot to work with moving forward. Me personally, I need a baseline to work with. One of her two release skins, we have Dynasty Ahri. Not to sound like an old head League of Legends player or anything, but back in my day, champions were released with two skins. Now, they only get one. Generally, the quality is much better though. 975 RP is a little pricey for a skin that doesn't really do much to change things up. We do get some new spell effects, although they're really slight, and surprisingly enough, the skin also does get a new dance. I honestly didn't see that one coming. The skin is okay for what it is. I don't think it can keep up with the rest of her skin, so we're going to put it in D tier for the time being. Now this is a pretty looking skin. Who would have thought Ahri in darker colors would just look so clean between her dark hair, her new outfit, and the contrast with her tails? This is one of Ahri's prettiest skins off of looks alone. I really also don't really have anything to mention aside from her looks, just because the skin doesn't have anything else to mention really. It cost 750 RP, and it was the other release skin that she got. I think I'm actually going to set this one in B tier. I like it more than her base skin. It's not too pricey for what it is, and the model itself is, like I mentioned, really gorgeous. I think it's only fair for the other web browsers to become skins in League of Legends. If Firefox is going to get one, you gotta bring out a Chrome one for Rammus, and I think whatever champion has the slowest base speed, you can give them an Internet Explorer base skin. It's all the web browsers I can think of off the top of my head for a really mid joke. Anyway, Firefox Ahri, Foxfire Ahri, whichever, gets a fire-based skin here with rather predictable spell effects. Now, just because they're predictable doesn't mean they're bad. My favorite touch to her new spell effects is that her charm actually leaves behind a trail of smoke, and I just think that's a neat touch they didn't really have to do. Doing some research for this video, I found out that this skin is actually a little controversial just because some of the particles that are associated with this particular skin. I found a pretty funny story of someone thinking they had been ignited and panic flashing because of it. The reason they thought they were ignited is because of the particle effects that she has on her during her ulti. It actually does look like you've been ignited, if I'm being completely fair to that person. I think we're also going to set this one in our B tier. There are some serious heavy hitters when it comes to Ahri skins, and I don't think this one can keep up with those. It is still pretty good though, especially costing only 975 RP. This is the skin that kickstarted Ahri getting a bunch of pop star idol related skins. It's actually really gorgeous looking if I'm being completely honest. Stardom really does suit Ahri, who would have thought? 975 RP is also a really good price for how much the skin does. New spell effects with some musical notes and other music-based spell effects. The skin also follows my rule for the most important part of a music-based skin in that it gets a new dance, which is rare for a skin with a 975 price tag. Maintaining her idol persona, she has a new recall with her waving to some off-screen fans as they cheer for her. The skin also has some additional quotes to it that go alongside her new look. The skin has quite a bit packed into it for a steal at its price. I think I have to rate the skin in A tier just because of how much it has going for it. Now this is a visually striking skin. Those colors are so vibrant and eye-popping. Reminds me of a comic book. It's just very pretty looking, especially her tails. Love the colors here. 975 RP for the price tag, which is not bad at all. The unfortunate part of this is it is a legacy skin, just meaning that you can't buy the skin whenever you want. You'd have to wait for the mid-season invitational and hope that Riot feels like making the skin available to buy. She gets a new recall with her wrapping herself up in her tails, which is very cute. The skin matches her new look with a bunch of new spell effects that use the same dark red and black colors. The orb is, well, I don't know if it's an orb anymore. Don't orbs have to be like smooth and spherical? So instead now she looks like she has some kind of chunk of crystal. The skin also has two special chromas with Ahri chroma and a golden chroma that is locked behind being able to buy it with essence of some sort. I don't know what the various resources are called anymore. I haven't played in like 2 years at this point. I do want to come back though, so maybe I'm just insane. I think that the skin is, although good, the rarity kind of holds it back for the time being. So we are going to set this one also in B tier. Oh boy, I finally get to hate a little bit. The Academy skins have never been my favorite. They honestly feel just kind of weird. Just take some random champions and put them in a private school? Really? It's also 750 RP, which is the only good thing I can say about the skin, if I'm being perfectly honest. The skin doesn't have any new spell effects, new animations, anything. And we start seeing rather quickly why the Academy skin line pretty much started with these and then died with these. I think this is going to be an F tier skin. F tier I reserve for skins that I would just never consider using. I would rather just play with Ahri's base model over this one, and it's not even a decision for me, really. Oh, a good palette cleanser after the garbage we just looked at. Next up, we have Arcade Ahri, a skin line that is very near and dear to my heart. As someone who, for their entire life, has been a gamer, I love this skin line. Visuals alone, right out the gate, we have a lot of new stuff, from her orb now being a pixel bit version of itself that is constantly shifting, to her tails, which is also constantly shifting to different colors just on its own, to Ahri getting a brand new kind of tomboyish look to her. It's all great, with my only complaint being that I don't love Ahri having short hair, but I honestly think that if just more skins had her with short hair, it would stick out less and it would feel more natural to me. Even so, the rest of the skin is just such a visual feast for the eyes that it's hard to hold that against her, really. She doesn't get a new dance exactly, but there is some fun little 8-bit music that goes along with it. Her new recall has her port in an arcade cabinet to play on for those few seconds during her recall. I mean, we all play games on our phone during a recall, right? We have to get that precious dopamine somehow. The last thing to talk about is her spell effects. The only reason we're talking about them last is because after everything we've mentioned so far, the spell effects just kind of match up with everything. They're fun little 8-bit graphics, and they have matching sound effects that are just really pleasing to the ear as well. At 1350 RP, with all the improvements the skin makes, I have to say I think the skin is a solid A-tier contender. Star Guardian is probably one of the most popular skin lines in the entire game. So much so that it's become kind of a meme at this point, with everyone wanting everyone to be a Star Guardian, and maybe some champs, not naming any names, Urgot, get a Star Guardian skin. Now, these are an obvious reference to anime like Sailor Moon being the obvious example, the skin paying direct homage to it with her recall and the active particles during her ultimate. Oh, by the way, this is a legendary skin, one of two that Ahri has, which is becoming more common nowadays as skins are just released at a higher quality at a faster clip in general. There are more legendary skins. Back in my day, no, we're not going to do this. For 1820 RP, the skin is actually really solid. It has brand new emotes, and the effects on all of her spells have been ramped up too, because of course they have. But the most important part of the skin, and I am very serious about this, is that she has this little squirrel fox thing that follows her around, and in my opinion, this thing is solely responsible for giving her all her powers. So bow down to it, even though it's not massive, orange, and evil. The skin is pretty good, and it's going into A tier. This might be a good time to explain the tier system, because if you're new here, you're asking, what the hell is wrong with this guy? This is obviously an S tier skin. And my response is, shut up and listen, nerd. S tier is reserved for my personal favorite for a champion. My tier lists are, for the most part, about 80% objective, but sometimes my personal tastes are going to play into this thinking. I want you all to think of A tier as the best skins a champion has, with the S tier just being my own space to be completely biased, and unfortunately, we haven't gotten to my favorite Ahri skin yet. So, KDA Ahri, you might be asking yourself, but Alex, which KDA Ahri skin are you going to talk about? She has 4 of them. Well, I'm going to talk about them rapid fire like because they're all kind of the same to me. I'll start out with KDA and KDA All Out. These are the two you can actually buy. They both cost 1350 RP, and if you want to know which one to buy out of these two, I'd say pick whichever one has the better outfit for Ahri in your opinion. Me personally, I'm a little more partial to the normal KDA skin, but that's just me. I don't have to justify my reasoning to you people. My reasoning, however degenerate it may be, is my own. Shut up. As for spell effects, they both do these crystal-like effects to them, with the normal one being a little more understated. The all-out one goes a little harder on it. In my opinion, the coolest thing with these skins in particular are her tails, which now have this translucent look to them that remind me a lot of spotlights you'd see during a performance. I'm gonna rank both of these in A tier because they're just really good objectively. All Out has a new dance, whereas KDA doesn't, so you could rank that one higher, but KDA looks better to me. It honestly feels like a coin flip if I'm being completely upfront with you. Pick your favorite. On to the golden ones now. So you might be asking yourself, Alex, why are there two prestige ones for the same skin? Well, Riot likes money, is the short answer. But these prestige skins, since their introduction, have all been about grinding tokens away in a battle pass style microtransaction that Riot is a big fan of. Honestly, though, I like these two. There's something satisfying about playing games and earning rewards for it. I don't know. It's a fun system. But as you play, you earn tokens, eventually being able to trade those tokens in for a skin or a bunch of purple essence that you can then use to buy a different prestige skin most of the time. So the Battle Pass is how you unlock the original of the skin. Now, these are kind of rare just because the draw of them is you don't know if they're ever going to come back to the store in the future. It's rare, it does happen. However, for the people who originally got this skin back in the day, you automatically get the Prestige 2022 version. Now, the reason I wanted to rapid fire through all these is because they all have similar spell effects, just with different colors. And the whole vibe of these skins is all the same. It's just Ahri. She's a pop star idol, superstar that is in her absolute prime as far as popularity goes. She ditched her old school pop star bubblegum look, teamed up with a bunch of other hot league girls, and formed a boss girl singing group, traveling the world, making men and women drool all over them. The 2022 one has tails with pink accents at the end, and aside from not matching her splash art like at all, because she has long black hair instead of her blonde short hair, I don't know, it just all feels the same to me. The prestige ones, I'm gonna rank together, and they're gonna go in B tier together. For rarity's sake alone, I think that holds them back. I also personally just think the KDA ones look better without all the prestigeness to them. So this is a really pretty looking skin. Just color-wise right out of the gate. Very vibrant, colorful, it just stands out really well. The skin makes good use of greens and purples. Green being a color we haven't really seen a lot from Ahri. Lots of flowery effects, which is pretty unsurprising for a Fey Woods inspired skin line. Elderwood has always been really hit or miss with me as far as the skin line goes, but I do like this one. She does in fact get a new recall with this one, but it's nothing dramatic or anything. For 1350 RP, I think the skin is alright. I don't think it can quite compete with everything that we're gonna put in A tier or have put in A tier already. I think for right now, having this in B tier makes sense. Hell yes, finally we get to talk about my favorite skin with the Spirit Blossom skin. So S tier, just right out the gate, gonna get that out of the way. I love the Spirit Blossom skins. They are so cool to me. When I was a kid, I did live in Japan for a few years, and it was easily one of my favorite places I ever lived as a kid. Ever since then, kind of anything with a Japanese aesthetic I've been a big fan of, and the Spirit Blossom skins do that excellently. This is a legendary skin, so we get all new emotes, new spell effects. That's always going to happen, but the skin also lets Ahri have two new forms. One of them, she turns into a cute little fox during her home guard animation, her joke, her taunt, her recall. During her ulti, when she actually does the dash part of her ulti, she turns into the fox again. Speaking of her ulti, during that, she has like this demonic white form that she's currently using. It looks really cool. The skin is phenomenal. Despite it being my own personal favorite, so it was going to get the S tier anyway, I truly do think from an objective standpoint, when I take in every factor I can think of when it comes to ranking a skin, I do think this is Ahri's best skin overall. We are now officially in the end game as far as looking at Ahri skins. I am so tired. This is one sinister looking skin. I think it just makes sense that every champion in the game gets a pure evil skin. They all need one, even if they're a goody two shoes type of champion, and Ahri is morally gray at best anyway, so it makes sense that she gets an evil skin eventually. I mean, she's carrying around a bird skull of some sort as her orb, for crying out loud. According to the wiki, this is implied to be a corrupted version of her Elderwood skin. I always like when skins play into each other like that, and they all kind of build and create sequels off of each other. Ahri has a bunch of those with her whole Popstar and KDA stuff anyway, so the fact that she gets one more, pretty cool to me. When I first saw the skin, the number one thing I said to myself was, man, if she has the same exact voice as her normal skin, it's immediately going to be bad and go down a few tiers. And guess what? There's a voice filter that makes her sound just absolutely evil in such an eldritch horror way. I don't care how hot you think Ahri is. If you're in the middle of the woods alone at night and you turn to see her standing there and she starts talking to you like this, you're accepting death. And that's just how it is now. New spell effects and a new recall is here and accounted for. Pretty standard fare for a 1350 RP cost skin. And honestly, if you're into the whole dark, edgy, witch in the woods kind of vibe, the skin is about as good as it gets. We have yet another A tier skin. Man, she just does not miss. I have to say, I have looked at a lot of Ahri skins today. Like a lot. If we include her base model, Ahri has 20 skins. Now, she also has 9 tails. Now, I can't really do all the math that's required there to figure out how many tails that is, but what I do know is that out of every single one of her skins, these have by far my favorite tails of Ahri. And I know that's a weird comment to say, but they look really, really incredible. They almost look hand-drawn compared to everything else. They just look awesome. Ahri's outfit with the skin also looks much different than anything we've seen so far. Even her orb feels like they were really able to play around with it this time with the tarot card form to it. If we're just going off of looks alone, for a 1350 skin, this one is just very high quality. Arcana recalls are also always really cool, usually ending with the champion taking the shape of their Arcana card. I could not tell you which one Ahri is supposed to represent, though. I unfortunately am only familiar with the Major Arcana, and even then, only because of Persona. So I'm gonna go with the Empress? I could be completely wrong, let me know, or maybe the Arcana just work completely different in the League of Legends universe. Her spell effects get a whole new look using similar shades to her model with blacks, reds, and an orange that looks very pleasant, but my absolute favorite part of the skin is that during her ulti, she has this very clean looking graphic signaling a waning moon going through its phases, and they disappear as you use the charges on her ulti. This is an easy contender for A tier, and honestly, the skin made me second guess my S tier pick for a second. I'm still content with Spirit Blossom Ahri being my favorite, but I'd be lying if I said the skin didn't make me do a double take. Oh boy, I think we kind of just hit a snag here towards the end. I don't really think I like this one that much. Could be a hot take, but she looks like some kind of alien, and not in a fun way, because the skin was clearly not going for that aesthetic. It's just really strange looking. Also, her orb is definitely something from Zelda. That's Farore's symbol. You can't tell me otherwise. Yeah, I knew that name off the top of my head. I didn't have to go look it up. I'm not a fake gamer. I also hate the snow boots. If I'm going to continue to harp on the model a little bit, I just think it looks bad. Snow boots? Come on. Now, the skin does earn back some points because the tails are very pretty, and she has a good recall, although it does feature a blood moon. Right, when are the Zelda references gonna end? Come on. Thought we wouldn't notice, but I did. It's 1000% a coincidence, though. I'm just kidding. The new spell effects, while cool, just feel, I don't know, out of place. It's like they wanted to do icy effects, but then they also changed their mind and stopped doing them. I don't know. I feel like some of my own personal tastes are affecting this one pretty heavily. It's a 1350 RP cost skin, and Ahri just has way too many better options at that price range. I don't know, D tier, I just don't like it. It's not outright bad, unlike Academy. You can clearly tell they put some effort into this one. I just don't think it really worked out for them. Alright, well, here we are. Once upon a time, in the far-off year of 2006, holy shit, 2006 was 18 years ago. One sec, I need to go kill myself. One minute. Okay, well, that didn't really take, so back again. Anyway, in 2006, Bethesda sold some DLC for Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Armor for your horse. Now, they really kicked a pebble down the mountain because although I don't think that was the actual first paid cosmetic DLC ever, but boy oh boy is it the most infamous early example of it. And where has that pebble landed us? It has culminated here with this shit. This thing costs $50 as part of a bundle that is limited time. This kind of shit is so predatory, it's not even funny. Guys, don't buy this. You're letting Riot win. You're letting them know that this shit is okay. And it's not. It's really, really not. Because sure, I can tell you that it has a similar quality to legendary skins. It has new jokes, new taunts, laughs, spell effects, recall, it has it all. But $50 for a skin is just too much. It's a great skin. $50 is way too much for it. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna put it in C tier. If you're a diehard Ahri fan, sure, go for it. You bought a $1 scratcher and won $50? Sure, go for it. But generally, I am not going to condone buying this. Don't let Riot start to think that this is okay. I swear to God, I now think of the skin as my nemesis. I just spent a lot of time going on a tirade a second ago about how toxic a $50 skin is. This skin, as part of a bundle, costs $500, and I'm just done. But Alex, it has forms and it's faker endorsed somehow. Listen, I do not care. I've been away from League for a long time, but when I have my friends messaging me about this shit, hey, are you gonna do a video on the $500 skin? My immediate reaction was to say, the fucking what now? Now, I don't know much about competitive League. I have never made it out of silver, for crying out loud. But isn't Faker the guy who just never uses skins? Like, he always just uses a champ's base model, right? How in the world is that guy associated with this crap? I just want to talk to him because, wow, $500? Now, I don't know how the rest of the world is doing, but 500 is a lot to me, and I'm 100% picking video games as my favorite hobby of all time, every time. But there's no way I am dropping that much money on a single skin. I get it. It has a lot in it. It has form changes, which is incredibly rare for a skin. You know what else has those? Gun Goddess Misfortune, Elementalist Lux, Pulsefire Ezreal, and I don't need to spend rent money to get them. Riot, I understand you're a business, but this is straight up not cool. I'm glad I haven't played League in a while. I'm wanting to come back and play it, and this isn't really going to stop me from doing that. But if I see anyone playing with the skin, I am going to be baffled because what are you doing? I'm going to look up the numbers after this video to see if I can find any info on how well these skins sold because I got my fingers crossed that it was poorly. F tier. Toxic, manipulative business like that cannot be rewarded. Ridiculous. Come on. Alright, now time for the actual ranking. All the skins are placed where they were ranked in the video, just kind of haphazardly. We're going to start at S tier, Spirit Blossom. Soul Person at the top of the mountain. We're good there. A tier, KDA is better than Popstar. All Out is better than Popstar. Star Guardian is better than all three of those. Arcana is probably the best aside from Star Guardian. As much as I like Arcade, I don't think it's better than any of the Popstar ones. And I think Coven is at least better than Popstar. I would honestly put it between the KDA ones. Yeah, I think that makes sense. B tier at the top. I personally think Midnight and Prestige go to the top. Challenger's okay, but I do think Firefox is better. Or Foxfire, whatever this skin is called. I think it's Foxfire. Challenger Ahri, I do like more than Elderwood. C tier, her base skin can be at the top, that's fine. Dynasty, next, is good. And Risen being at the bottom of C tier makes complete and total sense to me. D tier, Snow Moon stands alone. And then F tier, Academy should be at the top of F tier compared to Immortalized. You know what? Immortalized, you're getting your own tier. You can be in that tier by yourself. You deserve it. That is gonna do it for the tier list. Here's the ranking. If you skipped ahead in the video, you missed a lot because I don't give any reasoning really in this one other than it's good or better or worse. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Hit the bell so you know when my videos come out. Although I am on a schedule, there is a video on my channel explaining my schedule. Next week, we are gonna do Fizz. Fun fact about Fizz, he is one of my least favorite champions in the entire game, mostly because I hate playing against him. So should be a lot of hate, should be a lot of fun. For now, that is going to be the end of this video, and I will see you all in the next one.